Field of 68 after dark. Welcome into a Freaky Friday, February 20th edition of Field of 68 After Dark. Here, of course, on X, on YouTube, on SiriusXM. Going to be with you for the next hour, not just breaking down some of the action from tonight, but also looking ahead to some monster matchups, some of the best games of the season tomorrow. I'm John Martin, joined tonight by the coach, Matt McCall, North Carolina great, Justin Jackson. Fellas, we're going to do some blind resume work a little later, so make sure you have your, bracketologist hats on. I know Matt always does. So we'll do that in just a bit, but let's start and let's begin with what Purdue did. Historic effort from them tonight against Indiana. Again, you're looking for that bounce back after the disappointing Michigan loss. You got it. They shot 65% from the field, 56% from three, wire-to-wire win. Believe it was the largest win over Indiana for Purdue since 1969. So, Justin, I'll come to you. This response from Purdue, what'd you make of it?
I think it's one player, man. Like when you look at Kaufman Wren, right? He's the only physical specimen on this team that can really affect the game from a physical standpoint, right? And so when he's aggressive and when he's playing at the top of his game, this team feeds off of that. Right now, you take pressure off of Braden Smith, you take pressure off of Fletcher Cox, Fletcher Lawyer. You take you take all that pressure off of those guys, and now they're so much better of a team. And so I think that was it. I think he set the tone for this game. And they just never let off. Obviously, it helps when you shoot the ball the way they did. But they just never let off after they kind of got going early. And I think that's kind of the reason was because of Kaufman Wren and just the physical aspect that he brings to this team.
Matt, there was a lot here, right? You not only do you have you're trying to get the taste of that Michigan loss out of your mouth, but you also have the get back. You lost at Indiana's place earlier in the season. So it feels like all those things combined, and conspired to, help Purdue put together one of their better efforts of the year.
You hate to say it too, John, just in terms of three-point shooting. And I don't want to put so much onus on Fletcher Lawyer, but the numbers speak for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
When they were in the middle of that three-game losing streak, Fletcher Lawyer was shooting 25% from behind the three-point line. When they were on their run and then in the four-game win streak, he was shooting 44%. Tonight he doesn't miss. Mm-hmm. During that streak, too, in terms of their Big Ten wins and their Big Ten losses, they were averaging right around 7 threes per game in their losses, and in their wins around 11. So the three-point line is the equalizer for this team. And if I was TKR after the Michigan game, I would have walked in the locker room and said, "Yo, fellas, can somebody else step up and play with the motor the way that I did in this game?" Because he's the only guy that showed up in that game. He was the only one. And, he was going at Johnson Jr. from the rip in that basketball game. So to see him show up again, even after his performance against Michigan, and step up the way that he did, and by the way, one of the best environments in college basketball. I was blown away on Tuesday. I posted something on Instagram earlier today just in terms of the walkout from Purdue. It was really, really – it was unreal. It's unreal. But it's the three-point line. I mean, that's the difference between when Purdue wins and when Purdue loses. And they made shots tonight. And the other night against Michigan, they didn't. Now, Michigan had a lot to do with that because of the size, the length, the athleticism at every single position. But the response was big time. In a game that they needed it. They needed it.
Yeah, Matt, I want to come back to you on that because how much of it was I just thought Purdue looked, and I'll say especially Braden Smith leading the thing. They looked so damn intentional tonight. Like the way that Braden Smith was slicing that defense up. I mean, there were a couple of – it was like this is just what they do, right? Like Fletcher Lawyer comes over the top there, top of the key, and then Braden just finds him, zips the pass to him. It happened a couple of times. Once in the first half, I think again in the second half, like literally the same exact play. Like how much of those shots that you're talking about, when they make them, they look much better, obviously, and can win these games. How much of that is determined by, how effective Braden Smith is in delivering that ball?
Well, I think you also have to take into account that Indiana does not have the size and the physicality up front that Michigan does. They don't have it. It's a completely different team. And I think Coach DeVries, that's going to be the first thing that he addresses this offseason in the transfer portal of, hey, listen, we've got shooting now within our program, but we don't have the size and the physicality to be one of the best teams in the Big Ten. They just don't have it. So you have to take that into consideration. Watching Braden Smith against Michigan, too, I walked in the arena 2 hours prior to tip. I'm saying the guy shot 700 shots before the start of that game. Was he worn down at all? Was he tired? Was he fatigued? And I'm not ever saying a player needs to adjust their preseason routine. I would never do that. But I couldn't believe how many shots the guy took before the start of that game. But the size, the athleticism of Michigan is completely different from the size and the athleticism at every single position from Indiana. That plays a factor. When you could stick Mara in the lane and you're playing against a non-shooting 5-man and he could just sit back there and alter every single shot that everybody's taking. I mean, Michigan was blocking jump shots at the end of that game against Purdue the other day. Indiana doesn't have that type of size. They just don't have it. So I think that played a factor in the game. Braden Smith's still one of the best point guards, if not the best point guard in the country. But the supporting cast of Michigan is the reason he struggled against them the other day compared to the supporting cast against Indiana today. But the response was huge for Purdue. Huge.
And I would just say to that point, like, I think you stack up pretty much anybody in the country. Pinky, come on, let me get the pinky. A little elegance and sophistication, please. There we go. I think if you start stacking up any team in America, they're gonna shrink up next to Michigan. So I just
it's nothing
I
like
think
a
Duke,
LaCroix, by the way. Nothing like a LaCroix.
nothing like it. I think Duke's gonna find that out tomorrow. So I think that's first and foremost. So if we remove that result, Justin, I mean, this is a Purdue team that, again, would, as we talk about, nonstop return 2 All-Americans. Nobody's doing that in this day and age. So if you take out the Michigan result, they won on the road at Iowa, they won on the road at Nebraska, obviously demolished Indiana tonight. I mean, is this a team that you feel comfortable, getting behind for a Final Four run?
I've kind of all year, I've never really looked at them as a Final Four team. And I'll tell you why. Because when you look at, we take the Michigan game out, but when you look at the Michigan game, all the teams that are at the top when it comes to the Final Four runs are going to look real similar to Michigan, right? Like you've got the Dukes. I think they have one of the most underrated front lines that is never talked about. You've got Florida, who's playing great, in my opinion, who could be a Final Four team. They've got size everywhere. Arizona, they've got size everywhere. So I think that's why I haven't put them this year in the Final Four contention from that standpoint. But at the same time, when it comes to tournament play and you have good guard play, which obviously you've got, if not the best, one of the best point guards, like McCall had said, I also just don't necessarily trust the other guys with Purdue. I've seen kind of too much up and down throughout the season. And all it takes is one game in the tournament. It takes one game for them, for Lawyer to go 4 for 16, and all of a sudden they're bounced out of the tournament. So are they a good team? I think they're definitely a good team. Make Sweet 16, Elite 8, maybe. But Final Four, I just don't have them in that. I don't have them in that tier for my bracket.
What about you, Matt?
Justin, I
don't
think they have that. I just don't think they have the depth. In terms of a starting 5, if all of those, the margin for error for this Purdue team is so small. And I said this the other night. I said it to Jordan Cornette and Robbie Hummel after the game and after the broadcast the other day. I feel like Matt Painter's in a very, very difficult spot because Fletcher Lawyer has started every single game of his career. But at times this year, he's been really bad. He has been bad. And especially on the defensive end of the floor. Like, he has struggled, and teams are picking on him. But if you're Coach Painter, are you going to just all of a sudden, late in this guy's career, when he's given his heart and soul to this program, you're going to go in a different direction and start somebody else or play somebody else over? It's just, that's a difficult spot to be in as a head coach. Like, that's a difficult spot to be in. So couple that with the lack of depth that they have. Preseason number one in the country, I get it because of those three guys. But to win a national championship, they would have to get the right draw. They would have to, and I think going through adversity throughout the course of a season, losing some games, I think that helps your team. But this team, just in terms of what these guys have gone through, like, you look at Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, losing the first round of the NCAA tournament, play for a national championship, come back last year, some ups and downs. You're playing without Zach Edey. Fast forward to this season, you're number one in the country. Like, there's been a lot like that can weigh on you. Maybe that's having a factor. Just with all those different things that this team, and especially those two guys, have gone through. I thought today was a good step, just in terms of, I was concerned coming out of that Michigan game, are these guys checked out? Will that emotional roller coaster that they've been on throughout their college career, will it be too much for them? Would they be checked out? But they're not checked out. Can they win a national championship? I don't think so. But to respond after getting embarrassed at home in what was, guys, I'm telling you, and Justin, I've been to Carolina. I've never been to Duke. I've been to Kentucky. I've been to Kansas. I've been in a lot of these environments. That environment the other day, man. Whew.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, I worry a little bit that we're being a little too critical of Purdue here, a little too hard on them. I mean, I genuinely think anybody in the country would take a roster that includes 2 returning All-Americans, right? And I think the other argument, I guess, my pushback on, how little depth they have is, I mean, who's the best 4th guy in the country? Does it matter? Does it matter who the best? I mean, sure, you'd like that 4th guy to come in and hit a couple shots, but like, who's Michigan's 4th guy? Who's Duke's 4th guy? I mean, in the end,
John, Michigan's 4th guy. I mean, Michigan has 10 guys.
I mean, look, they're loaded, but Michigan is.
I mean, they've benched Cadeau at times, and Kason steps up. They've benched Burnett, and McKinney steps up. Like, I mean, come on. They've got a 4th guy. They've got a 5th guy. They've got a 6th guy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, are there teams that are deeper? Sure, I would say that's for sure. But like, when you have 2 All-Americans, Justin, I would just say, shouldn't depth be less important when you have that much at the top? I mean, that's what Texas Tech has kind of lived on. They have some before the top of an injury, and they have some of the best wins in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I say, like, Sweet 16, Elite 8 type of team in Purdue. But once you get to Final Four, that, like, you're hitting these teams that we're talking about, right? Like, once you hit those teams, then you're running into the same problem that they had against Michigan. But by no means is this a bad basketball team. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, this team, I don't trust this team going and winning a couple games in the tournament. I'm not saying that at all. But once you get into the tournament, you get into, like, the real, okay, these are the teams that we're going to have to beat to make it to the top. Then you're going to have guys step up. That 3rd and 4th guy is going to have to step up in a game when maybe your 1st or 2nd guy doesn't have it going, right? Like, I go back to when we won a championship. I was 0 for 9 from 3 in the championship game, right? But the guy who hit basically the game-sealing bucket scored 4 points all game, but when he needed it, Isaiah Hicks scored an unbelievable double-clutch layup, right? So it's like, you have to have guys be able to step up. And looking at this Purdue team, Braden Smith's awesome. Kaufman-Wren's awesome whenever he's really aggressive. Lawyer's awesome when he's on, right? But other than that, who's going to be able to do it? And I think that's why, for me, I just can't put him in that Final Four tier.
Yeah, and look, everybody's entitled to their opinion, no question about that. I had him in before the season, and Matt, I would say, I know it hasn't happened consistently, and you're not always going to be playing at Mackey, and that is always super important to note. Like when you're getting into late February, sometimes teams go on the road and they just get their shit kicked in, and that's what happened to Indiana. But Omer Meyer was what, 4 or 5 from 3 tonight? Like he was a confident young man. And again, is that going to happen away from Mackey, Matt? I don't know, but that seems like a guy who could turn it on for Purdue. In the turn, I would say that's probably a candidate I would focus on, perhaps.
And if that's the case, is Coach Painter willing to park Fletcher Loyer? Like, is he willing?
He doesn't have to. Does he have to? They both played plenty of minutes tonight.
I'm just saying when the game's on the line and it's a one-shot deal. It's a one-game season. That's what the NCAA tournament is. It's a one-game season. Are you willing to a guy that has put – it's a hard thing for a coach to do, even with a coach with Matt Painter's stature that has plenty of job security. No need to worry about that. But, like, are you going to park this guy?
Yeah.
And it's not going well because he is a liability on defense. He's a liability. And if he's not making shots, what is he doing for your team to impact winning?
Yeah, fair enough. Real quick before we hit a break here, I do want to get you guys' thoughts on Indiana. Obviously, first year for Darren DeVries, and there've been some good wins, but overall, it just sort of feels underwhelming. Like, doesn't feel like they're really threatening to make any kind of run here. Justin, what have you made of Indiana? This is now kind of 2 straight blowouts here. Again, granted on the road, but it just doesn't feel like they have much going right now.
I'll tell you one thing. I wish Lamar Wilkerson was on a good basketball team. I do wish that. Because, man, like his scoring ability at every single level is probably the most impressive thing on this Indiana team. But, I mean, to McCall's point, like they just don't have enough, especially in a conference that is loaded, right? Like they don't have enough size. They don't have enough guys that can really get it done on a consistent basis. And so I think that's just kind of where you're at. Like that there's not really any, light at the end of the tunnel because you can't fix a team at this point in the season that just doesn't have enough talent and ability when it comes to going against a Purdue and Illinois and Michigan. Like you just can't really do anything with that. And obviously McCall could talk to that way more being a coach, but that's just what I see. Like they're just lacking in areas that you can't necessarily lack in this type of conference. And I think that's why going on the road in these type of games, that's kind of why you see some of these results, even when Wilkerson scores the ball, even when DeVries knocks down shots outside. Like they just don't have enough, in my opinion.
Matt, how about you, man? What do you make of Indiana?
Where does the latest Field of 68 bracket have them right now in terms of Indiana? Do we have them in the?
They're
we have
10
them
seed.
10 seed. Yeah, we have.
They're clinging. They're holding on.
They're holding on for dear life right now. Like that, I mean, that's that they are holding on for dear life. They got Northwestern coming up, Michigan State coming up. Both those 2 games are at home. Minnesota, and then they got to go to Ohio State to close out the season. The margin for error for them is extremely small. I think DeVries going through the league, like I said earlier, first year being in the league, maybe underestimated just how big physical, the front courts of these teams are. The better teams in the league. I mean, Illinois, positional size. Michigan, positional size. Michigan State, huge up front in the front court. Like you got to have guys that can be physical and play in different ways. Yes, you can play with great space, play with great pace, but if you don't have the front court to compete with these other front courts in this league, you'll get swallowed up. I think that's what Coach DeVries will understand going through this first season. Guy's a ball coach. He's a great coach. He's won wherever he's been. The turnaround that he had last year at West Virginia. But this Indiana team, they gotta get bigger. They have to get more physical. And there's no question about it. And sometimes you got to go through a difficult league in a difficult year to understand that. Like, this is what we
Mhm.
need, and we need more of this. And I think that'll be the first thing that he addresses, and two, you're not going to have your son moving forward. You've had him, basically throughout your entire college career, and it's time to move on from that and, get bigger, get more physical up front, and continue to add shooting.
Yeah, sometimes it's weird, but sometimes, having somebody, so close to you like your son on the team can kind of handicap you in some ways, right? I've seen it in Memphis multiple times, believe it or not. I thought, they would just be the one, but then there was another Hardaway that came in, and it's happening again. So pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. All right, when we get back, we're going to do some blind resumes here as we try to figure out who belongs where in the NCAA tournament. That's up next. Field of 68 after dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark here on a Friday, February 20th edition of the show. We got Justin Jackson, we got Matt McCall. I am John Martin here with you tonight, SiriusXM, YouTube, and X. Love is blind, and so are the following resumes. We're going to go through some blind resumes. You watch that show? Any of you guys watch that show, Love is Blind? Still on?
Not really a reality TV guy, John. Not really a reality TV guy. I'm not going to lie.
I think Justin watches. I think Justin's all in.
Look, at the end of the night, whatever my wife says we're going to watch, we're going to turn that on the
That's
TV.
exactly.
That's Love is Blind. It's Love is Blind.
Justin. Great.
Yep.
Answer.
All right, so we're gonna go through some of these blind resumes, and Dagan, what are we trying to exactly? Are we trying to figure out who's who or whose resume is better? Is that what we? And then you'll reveal the teams at the end of the exercise. Is that what we're doing?
You're gonna do a little bit of both. So you don't have to figure out who it is. First, I want to know what one you think is more deserving. So here,
okay.
we'll get into the first one. Who should be the number one seed of these teams?
All right, who should be the number one seed? So for those listening on the podcast and on SiriusXM, I'll go through these. Identical records, 23-3, both teams. One team is 6th in the net. One team is 7th in the net. One team has a resume average of 7.3. One team has a resume average of 5.7. One team has a quality average of 6.7. The other has a quality average of 3.3. One team has a quad 1A record of 4-1. One team has a quad 1A record of 2-3. So there you have it. Whose resume to you guys, just based on these numbers alone? Again, we don't know who is who. Who's
coming up with this? By the way, quality average. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't even know what do these numbers mean?
What does quality average mean? Like,
so it's the quality metrics.
Goodman come up with that?
Quality metrics.
This
is
come up with that because he's not very
Trevor,
average.
So
Trevor, Connor, and Dagan. It's a copyrighted formula that we're not going to get into. Okay. So
just as long as Goodwin wasn't included in the quality average, okay? Because that's
with the caveat. That nobody on this panel knows what any of it means. Justin, whose resume looks better?
I mean, I go
for the number one
to
seed.
the quad one. record. Everybody gets up in arms about that whole entire deal. So I got to go with the team that's 4-1, quad 1A. I'll give them the one. Okay, I'll give
Team
them
A.
the number 1 seed. Team A.
All right, Matt.
Same. Team on the
Yeah, I
left,
agree.
quad
I agree.
I don't know what quality average is and who came up with that term. That just seems like just some like
Trevor's
nerd
going
in
to
the
send you an
back
email
that's just
after
like,
the show explaining everything. He'll have it for you.
Okay, I can't wait. Yeah, please break it down. Yeah, please break it down.
Yeah,
Give
I'm
me the
going
team on
to
the
agree.
left.
Team A.
Yeah.
Team A. We all agree. Team A. So can you reveal who these two teams are? Ooh.
Mhm.
Wow.
Ooh. Iowa State is Team A and Team B is Houston. But like, okay, let's hash this out. Why the hell would anybody pick Team B? We don't understand what resume average and quality average mean. That's the problem.
Right.
We don't get the metrics of this show. We're on this show,
That's right.
but we don't understand the metrics of this show. I should probably figure out
Wait,
the metrics before I fly to Washington, D.C. Okay, I should probably figure
All
that
right,
out.
here we go. Trevor came through. So quality average is the average number of all their quality metrics. That's KenPom, Torvik, also whatever. So the lower that number is, the better. So the closer you are to 1, the better you are.
So,
All right,
so
now
the
that
other
we
question is,
also
established that
whatever.
before.
Also, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. That clarifies
We'll
a
just
lot.
throw that in there. Whatever.
I mean,
That
Trevor,
clarifies
So
he really
we don't
showed
take
what
the
he thinks
head-to-head
about these
stuff?
analytics, huh?
Do we not take the head-to-head? The fact that Iowa State just beat Houston?
I mean, they're just
But-
cooking the
but
books
then-
back there on us.
Is all of this based off of our bracket?
No, so I'll hop in here. So again, as Trevor explained, quality average is KPI or BPI, KenPom, Torvik, and it's averaged out. So that's your quality metrics. Your resume metrics are KPI, strength of record, and wins above bubble. So that's your resume average. So teams are selected based on their resume average. So that's how you get into the tournament, and then you're seeded based on your quality metrics. So if you have better quality metrics, you're more likely to get a higher seed. But if you have better resume metrics, you're more likely to get in over somebody else. So there's the quick explanation on resume and quality.
I feel like I was just doing that mock tournament thing in Indianapolis for 9 hours. Like I just went through that. With that
Love that.
explanation.
There's no
All right,
way
so
I would sit through that, by the way. There's no way. I would not sit through that. There's no chance.
can you imagine
No
Goodman? Goodman tapped out after the hour number 2. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's just no doubt. he
According to
wasn't
my
listening.
sources. According to my sources. That's what
Exactly.
he-
All right.
According to my
Now that we, I think, have a firmer understanding of the exercise, let's try this again. Let's go, Dagan. What's next? All right. Who should get a better seed? Team A. I'm gonna go Team A, Team B. Team A, 21-5, 24th in the net, 19.3 resume average, 19.3 quality average, 4-4 quad 1 record. Team B, 20-6 record, 28th in the net, 21.7 resume average, 32.3 quality average, quad 1 record of 5-6. Justin, we'll start with you. Who should get a better seed, Team A or Team B?
I mean, Team A. I don't even. These numbers still confuse. Like it all is just like.
And you're a
jumbled
smart
up
guy.
in my
You're a
head.
smart guy, Justin.
I mean,
You're a
yeah,
smart
like
guy.
numbers was always my thing, and right now I'm struggling. But yeah, Team A, if I'm not mistaken, they have all lower numbers than Team B. So give me Team A.
McCall?
Give me Team B just because they played more quad 1 games. They're 5-6. They played 11. Team A played 10. So give me
and
Team
they
B.
have one more, and they have one more quad 1 win. They have 5. So I'm going to go Team B as
There
well.
you go.
All right, who we got, Dagan? The big reveal. How about that?
Wow,
You win against the alma mater.
that's
And
crazy.
he was right.
Y'all are for sure gonna clip this up too, and just totally make me look like. That's
How about
crazy,
that?
guys.
So St. John's is Team A, and North Carolina is Team B. St. John's obviously with a projected.
I
higher
wonder
seed at this moment.
with all these metrics and numbers and everything that we're coming up with here from some like some like alien in the back here for Field of 68, like some little guy, like some little Monstar from like Space Jam, like in the back, like that's what you guys are coming up with. Take the Providence loss out. How much does those numbers change for St. John's? I bet it changes drastically.
Well, I mean, you can't just do that. I mean,
no,
you can't just take a loss.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure every
you're not allowed to do
team
that.
would love a mulligan. You know, if you just take this loss out, that's our resume. That's crazy.
I can't wait till I play golf. I can't wait till I play golf in Indianapolis and I get yelled at by Jeff Goodman. Where are you at? Why are you playing golf? Oh. Yeah,
that's right.
Sometimes you got to re-tee it. Sometimes.
By the way, it's just Connor. He's the alien that's doing this. He's the one in the back that's responsible for all this.
Okay.
All right, how many more we got, Dagan? I'm enjoying this. We're so wrong on these, by the way. I mean, it's kind of amazing. All right, Team A, 17-9 record, 30 in the net, resume average of 28.3, quality average of 30.7, a quad-1 record of 5-7. Team B, 19-8, 26 in the net, resume average of 30.3, quality average of 24, and then a quad-1 record of 4-5. All right, Justin. You were actually right last time about the better team. Let's see if you can keep your streak going.
Whoa. Not the better team. I was right on.
Well, the higher seed,
the higher seed. Yeah. Let's hold on.
Good call.
They once told us that on Scantrons back in the day when you would take tests, if you just push C every time.
Can you imagine if kids today had to use
it would work? So I'm just gonna keep on hammering that Team A and let's just see if it works, man.
All right, Team A for Justin. Matt?
That's so good. He brings up the Scantrons. How good is that? Am I 0 for 2 right now? John, am I 0 for 2?
I think so, yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take the approach that Justin said. I'm gonna go with Team B. Again, maybe I'll get this one right. I'm gonna just go with Team B.
That's what D Rose did for his SAT, by the way. And NCAA didn't. Maybe it wasn't Derrick Rose.
You enjoyed it though. You enjoyed it as a Memphis fan. You were fine with that.
Oh,
you were fine.
It was a good time.
Man,
it was a hell of a year. It was a great fling. I don't even. Can you put the numbers up one more time, Dagan? I'm gonna go. Team
I'm rewarding
B.
winning. 19-8.
Team
yes,
B.
Let's go.
Team B. Who we got? I'm going Team B. Okay.
Yes. There we go.
Yes.
Clip that one.
That's very close, though. I feel like. I
feel like
you could flip a. I think it's. I mean, I think those. When you think about those two teams and the quality of those two teams, you don't think it's close. I mean, if they played on a neutral, it's going to be a coin flip game.
I feel like at times this NC State team is trending. In Kentucky, it's Mark Pope goes to a press conference and we want to go give him a hug. It's every time they lose a game, it's like, man, this guy in front when the microphone's in front of his face, I just want to walk up and give the guy a hug. Are they checked out? Can they win a game in the NCAA tournament? I feel like NC State's trending in a different direction from Kentucky, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, State definitely has played a lot better as of recent. So I think it's still a team. It's still two teams though that you don't necessarily know what their true ceiling is. So I don't know.
But for the record, McCall, you were wrong there in terms of picking the higher seed. That one goes to Justin.
Oh,
Kentucky's the higher seed.
Go ahead and I'm just out here just stacking. Come on.
Yeah. So, all right, last one here. Let's see if Matt can get on the board. Just a devastating performance from McCall tonight. Team A, seriously, 17-9 record, 38 in the net, 47.3 resume average, 36.7 quality average, 0-8 against quad 1. Team B, 22-6, 40 in the net, 44.7 resume average, 41 quality average, and a 1-4 record against quad 1. Justin, can you close on a win? Go out on a make.
Guys, this is like when you're on the roulette table.
Trick question.
It's like when you're on the roulette table and you hit red 3 times and you got to switch it up and go black on the 4th time. Give me Team B, man. I can't go. You can't go 0-8 in quad one games and be put in the tournament. That just don't work.
I
Matt?
feel like this is a trick question, and Team A is going to be the answer. But I can't pick a team that's 0-8 in quad one wins. I can't do it. I'm going to go Team B.
I'm gonna go Team A because I think it's UCLA. Let's do the big reveal.
Ooh, come on! Is that 4? Is that 4-0?
I think you smoked the first one. We smoked the first one.
The first one. You're right. You're right.
All right.
3-1.
Yeah, 0-8 against quad one is pretty rough. I mean, that's undeniable. They got to get one. I mean, I think if they do, I mean, I guess the question, McCall, is if they get one quad one, where does that put them in over a Santa Clara?
Better league, no question about it. I mean, Big Ten. If you break the numbers down in terms of the Big Ten versus the Big 12, what league are you picking?
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at the SEC last year. Like there's some teams that got in last year from the SEC. The only two teams that didn't get in from the SEC were LSU and South Carolina. So even a team last season like Georgia, you're like, are they an NCAA tournament team? Well, they got rewarded because of the league that they play in. They got rewarded. So if you're lining up these two teams and they're able to get one quad one win, you're taking Ohio State over Santa Clara because you're rewarding the conference that they're in. That's what's going to happen.
Would you concur with that, Justin? I mean, I do feel like when you play so many quad one games, and you're a middling team in that league, those losses can stack up, and how punitive the committee should be is up for debate there.
I mean, I think the easiest way to describe this conversation is Miami of Ohio versus the number 7, 8 seed in the ACC. Like, there's going to be more losses. There's going to be more, probably what you would consider negative on the resume. But the ACC is a legitimate, conference that'll put 8, 9, 10 teams in the tournament. Not so much with Miami of Ohio. So, yeah, I mean, I think you got to give teams that play great competition on a majority of the nights that they play, you got to give them the nod over teams that maybe have some teams that aren't as good as some of the other conferences.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay.
McCall asked, well, Justin was talking there for our last four in. Those teams currently are Santa Clara, UCLA, Auburn, and TCU in that order is our last four in as of earlier today.
Dagan, what about the last four out?
The first four out is hold on, pull up here, make sure. Ohio State, New Mexico, VCU, California is our first four out.
And that was that before today's St. Louis game?
Yes, that was at 6:00 today.
Yeah, they needed that one.
I mean that result was huge for VCU. Like that was huge, and I think Phil Martelli Jr. is doing an unbelievable job in his first year taking over for that program. But if they win that game, they're in. I mean, we use the term all the time, winning, you're in. If they win that game, they're in. And still trying to figure out why there was a fight at the end of it of a 20-point loss. And everybody was like running over there trying to break that whole thing up. But Josh Schertz is like trying to get everybody like, no, let's not get suspended for the next game. But that was huge just for VCU. Winning, you're in, and they weren't able to get it done, and now that they have to win the tournament.
Yep, absolutely. Opportunity that they needed to cash in on and did not. And again, St. Louis, if you look at their second half efficiency numbers, man, they are batshit crazy. I mean, they, when it gets to that second half, they are nuts in terms of how good they are. So that was on display tonight, no question about it. All right, tomorrow is going to be, an all-time day. I mean, you're talking about two of the, two top four matchups, and then of course lots of other great ones as well. So we're gonna dive into those. Michigan, Duke, and DC should be awesome. Stick around. Field of 68 after dark.
Today's episode of the Field of 68 is sponsored by Chubbies. Right now, I'm literally wearing their Everywhere pants. They are comfortable and stretchy to the point that it feels like I got on sweatpants in a business setting. I'm also a big fan of their classic line swim trunks. The built-in boxer brief liner is comfy, supportive, and most importantly, chafe-free. I had to get multiple pairs because I wore them every day down the shore last summer. This is year 15 for Chubbies as a business, and they are celebrating it by bringing back the shorts that started it all. The same iconic fit, the same lightweight and stretchy comfort-first design. For a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off with code F68 at chubbiesshorts.com. That's 20% off your order with code F68 at chubbiesshorts.com. Give your thighs the VIP treatment they deserve with Chubbies. Support our show and tell them we sent you.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark here on SiriusXM, YouTube, and X. We're going to be on Sirius with you for about another 20 minutes, and then we're going to head over to YouTube for the afters. John Martin, Matt McCall, Justin Jackson here with you tonight. But really, it's all about tomorrow. We only get so many of these Saturdays left, fellas. You know what I mean? Like, it's getting to be about that. My seasonal depression kind of starts to set in around this time, as weird as it is to say, because I know what this means. I know we're about to not have college basketball in about 2 months, and we're going into the wilderness. But tomorrow, you know, we got to live in the present because that's all we got. Tomorrow, we got some bangers. And the granddaddy of them all, Michigan, Duke, DC. Michigan, I believe, is a 2.5, 3-point favorite, depending on, you know, where you're shopping around. BetMGM obviously is where we would recommend. Matt, we'll come to you first. You love this Michigan team. You were in the building for the demolition of Purdue, and you haven't been able to stop thinking about it. What do you see for this game tomorrow?
I love how you say that too. Where you tease that thing up. Have you seen the ticket prices for this game?
Yes.
Have you seen what tickets are going?
Goodman's going to get with you on that. He's going to send you and expense that. So don't worry. Don't buy it. He's going to get that for you.
First of all, give both these coaches credit for playing this game. And I do believe that playing this game prepares you for the NCAA tournament. Because both these teams, once you're in league play as a coach, and everyone wants to say, like, oh, coaches watch other teams play. Like, coaches watch other leagues. No, they don't. They have it on in the background in their office. That's what they do. They have it on in the background. So you're not, if you're Duke, you're not watching Michigan. You're watching North Carolina play against Clemson because you're preparing to play North Carolina. And then you see them play Clemson. And you see them play Virginia Tech. And you see them play Wake Forest. So you're familiar with all those teams. And you may have a game on in the background. But the way that it works is when practice ends, you go home, you say hello to your wife, you say hello to your kids, you put them to bed, and you go back into your home office, and you're back focused on your next game and maybe have a game on in the background. But when I say games like these prepare you for the NCAA tournament, because once you get there, you got a one-day prep on a team that you've never seen before, from a league that you've never seen before, most likely. You play on Thursday, that Saturday game, you've never seen this team before. You've never seen their style of play. So that's exactly what, you know, John Shire in, you know, back-to-back years, he did it last year against Illinois. He's preparing his team. And Dusty May's doing the same thing. So let's start there. In terms of the matchup, I don't know that Duke has the size up front to compete with these guys up front. I don't. I think Duke's got to make a ton of threes to be able to do it. I love the interview the other night on the Field of 68 that Goodman and Dallin Cuff and Rob Doster did with Lindenborg. And Lindenborg was like, I mean, they're like, how do you beat it? How do you beat Michigan? How do you beat you guys? And he's like, I don't know. Do what Wisconsin did. It's like, all right, make 15 threes. Like that's what you have. I don't know that Duke can do that. I don't know that they can do that. And I think the size up front is really going to bother Boozer because I don't know that he's played against a team that has this much size up front. I don't. But I credit both of these coaches for playing this game. And the committee should not penalize either one of these teams. Both these teams should be one seeds in the NCAA tournament. They should not get penalized. Whoever loses this game should not get penalized. They should not get penalized. They should actually get credited for playing this game.
Even if they lose by 40, even if one of these teams loses by 40, they get credited.
Should not. First of all, they're not going to lose by 40, but they should not get penalized.
Justin, what's your assessment of the matchup? Do you agree? Do you concur with McCall in terms of the matchup difficulties that Michigan's going to present Duke?
I think I lean a little bit less worried. I am worried because this, I think, will be the first. They played Arizona early on in the season, right? But this for Cam will be kind of the first legit matchup with size across the board, every matchup he plays against. But I think Duke's front line has kind of gone under the radar, right? Like you've got Cam Boozer, who most people say National Player of the Year, right? You've got Ngangba down there, who's a big boy himself, right? Now, foul trouble is something that he struggles with. But then you've got another guy who stat-wise isn't anything crazy, but was like all ACC defensive team in Malik Brown, right? So you've got size. And against a Michigan team, in my opinion, the only way that you truly beat him is by having a good shooting big, right? A good shooting 5-man. And Cam Boozer, obviously, he can score from every level on the floor. And I think that's going to cause a little bit of challenge. Now, they've got 3-4 guys that they can switch matchups on. So Michigan still might be able just to cover it all up. And it's, okay, yeah, Michigan is the number 1 overall seed and everybody's chasing them. But I just think when you look at this team with Cam Boozer and his versatility, and then John Shire, some of the ways that he uses Cam Boozer that allows other guys to be able to do things is like not talked about enough. For me, the X factor is going to be Isaiah Evans. It's been that the entire game from the entire year for me. Like when he's really good, this Duke team is really good. When he struggles, they struggle. And so I think it's just, and something else to think about too. Duke's seen Elliot Cadeau in the ACC the 2 years before this year, right? Now, obviously, he's got a different confidence. He's shooting the ball better. They're using him in ways that looks like it's to his strengths the majority of the time. But there's something to seeing a team multiple times that changes things up a little bit. So, I mean, I think Michigan still wins. I'm not sitting here saying that I think Duke goes out there and wins. But I think Duke is going to be able to handle some of the things that Michigan has dominated other teams in a little bit more than maybe the majority of, a regular fan base would think.
Justin,
go ahead, Matt.
I would love to get I'd love to get your take on this too, because Mara is such a unique player. Obviously, when they slide Merez Johnson over to the 5, they're able to switch 1 through 5. But when they're playing against non-shooting 5s, Mara can just kind of hang out in the lane.
Right.
And when guards go down there, he alters and affects every single shot. So is this a situation for Duke to have the most success in this game? Is it playing Boozer at the 5 and trying to pull him away from the basket and get him out of the paint? Like, is that the recipe for success against Michigan? Like, get this guy, make him a non-factor defensively, because offensively, I think he's the best passing frontcourt player in the country in Mara, but his impact defensively, leading the Big Ten in block shots, because he can just stand back there when they play against guys that don't shoot it from the 5 spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'd love to see them match Cam Boozer at the 5 when Mara's on the floor, because I think that's the only way to have the spacing on offense that you need to be able to score the ball. Like you said, like when you have a 7-4 guy just patrolling the paint, there's nobody that's going to be able to go in there and finish at the rim on a
It's like
consistent
Kalkbrenner.
basis.
Yeah, no
Yeah, I
question.
mean, there's just it's not realistic. So yeah, for me, I would love to see Cam be at the 5 the majority of the time that Mara is out there. And then okay, now you go small. Now you bring Ngangba in there, and now he can do whatever he needs to do, whether it's setting screens. One thing that I saw up close was against North Carolina. Now, I think Michigan's defense has shown to be at a different level than North Carolina on a consistent basis. But one thing that they did really well was North Carolina started off the game switching everything. And their switch offense was, I mean, they had probably 2, 3 slips to the basket for dunks in the first 5 minutes. They were getting wide open threes off of those slips. So I think if you're able to get Mara not involved, right, whether that's him going to the bench or having to guard the 5 on the perimeter, now you're able to kind of mess with some of that the switching schemes that Michigan plays.
Totally agree.
And I think that changes things up, right? Because now you're not able to be as physical as you want to be, as Michigan can be, because now you've got slips everywhere, miscommunications, things like that. So I think it's just going to be an interesting matchup because it's like you look at it on paper, and man, Michigan just, I mean, they tower over every team they play against. And this team really isn't any different. But the way that they play the matchup style, I think, is going to be the most. This is going to be the most exciting game for me all day, even with that other big time matchup on.
Yeah, which we need to get to before we run out of time here on Sirius XM. That's Arizona traveling to Houston. Houston, of course, off that crushing loss at Hilton, up 10 late in the game, and you know that Hilton Magic, man, it came through once again for Iowa State. But they are back home and they are hosting the Arizona Wildcats without Koa Pete, Matt. Houston 4.5 minus 118 at BetMGM. Is this just a smash spot for the Houston Cougars and the get back part right here of the schedule?
I think so. I mean, I think Houston's able to take care of this one, with the question marks just in terms of Koa Pete. I think the back end of Arizona's schedule has been absolutely brutal. And I said it a couple weeks ago when they're number one in the country, they're boat racing everybody. I'm like, okay, look at look at how they close out their season. At Kansas, Texas Tech at home, BYU at Houston, at Baylor, Kansas at home, Iowa State. This is, at some point, it was going to catch up to them. There's no question. Now, again, I said it earlier in the show, going through some adversity can help this team because I do think Arizona still has the pieces to be able to win a national championship. And when I say that, because they can win games in a lot of different ways. They can win games in the 50s. They can win games playing in the 90s. They have size. They have athleticism, physical front court. I still think they can win the whole thing, but this the back end of their schedule. But I think Houston gets this done. I mean, when you think about Fleming leading this team in scoring with the 3 guys that came back off last year's team that was a crazy loose ball away from winning a national championship, just a really bad offensive possession to close out that game against Florida last year. Those 3 guys are back that started on that team, and you have a freshman that's leading this team in scoring. That's how good this team is. I think Houston gets this done tomorrow, but that says nothing negative about Arizona. I still think Arizona can win the whole thing, and I think Houston can win the whole thing. I think they're in that same category with Michigan, and I still put UConn in that same category, even though they lost the other night to Creighton. So, 6, 7 teams. This is the year. 2 years ago, you think about it, guys. Like there was 2 teams that we felt like they could win a national championship. It was Purdue. And it was UConn. I don't think any of us saw what Florida was able to do. It was last year. Everybody thought Auburn would be able to do it. maybe Houston and Duke. I mean, Duke could be the most talented team last year to not win a national championship when you really think about it. And they were a possession away from playing for it all. That's what makes the NCAA tournament so great. The greatest sporting event, in my opinion, that we have. So be interesting to see, but yeah, I think Houston gets it done.
Justin?
I'm interested to see how Jaden Bradley plays against those guards. I love Jaden Bradley. Like I love the way he plays, how he's changed his role throughout the years, like what he is for this Arizona team. But in their 2 losses, in my opinion, he's lost the matchup against the 2 point guards, right? Melvin Council, albeit he shot 25 times, but he set the tone for the entire game. And Jaden Bradley never really was able to get up to that level. And then Christian Anderson, even though he kind of struggled, I think he won the matchup against Texas Tech. And so for me, it's watching Jaden Bradley against these guards. Is he able to use all of the tools, the experience, the scoring ability that he has, the playmaking ability, running the team? Is he able to do that against, for one, a defense that doesn't allow you to be comfortable ever? But 2, just against some legitimate guards, not even just Flemings. You've got Uzan, you've got Sharp, like you've got guys everywhere on the floor. That's going to be a good matchup. And in my opinion, I think Houston has the edge. I think Arizona, if they're able to get their size truly involved, I think you could see that make it, an interesting game. But can Jaden Bradley win the matchup against the guards of Houston? If he does, then I think Arizona's got a chance in this game to win it, make it interesting, whatever you want to call it. If he doesn't, I think Houston is able to kind of not run away with this game, but I think they are able to control the game the majority of it and come out on top.
Yeah, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be laying it with Houston here. I love this spot for Kelvin Sampson, this team, and we all know the last couple of years they get that one February like jog you a little bit. It's like a smelling salt. They just take a little smelling salt in February. They're like, all right, we're back, we're ready to go back in the game. So I would say that Iowa State loss was that for them, and they should have won the game. They were up 10 on the road at one of the hardest places to play in college basketball. So give me Houston -4.5. All right, toast of the night, Matt. We're going to kick it off with you. I mean, you're the one that's got the drink. Let's go.
Got the LaCroix. We got the LaCroix going right now.
That's right.
Bounce back for Purdue. Because you think I'm so negative on Purdue right now. Coach Matt Painter had the boys ready to play. To come off that loss and beat your rival at home, you got to go with the Boilermakers. No question about it.
Agreed. Justin?
Yeah, I'll stay in that game, and I'll just go with Kaufman-Wren. Like you talked about against Michigan, he was really the only guy that showed up, and he bounced right back again and had a really good game from the jump. So I'll toast to Kaufman-Wren. TRK.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have the largest margin of victory over your rivalry, since 1969, it's a damn good night. All right, that's going to do it for us on SiriusXM. Hang with us on YouTube for the after.
These my DJ Burns shades I had for.
You're taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die got to be one of the black guys. We're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
Welcome back, or welcome in, I should say, to the afters here on the field of 68. John Martin, Matt McCall, Justin Jackson with you tonight. Dagan, we didn't hit Iowa State BYU, right? That's the one we didn't get to. So let's get to that one. Iowa State, obviously, a bit of a tough spot, Justin. I'd say you win that emotional game against Houston. Maybe you shouldn't have done it. Certainly, the odds were against you. The no dip three there as the shot clock's about to expire. I mean, it's kind of insane the way that all went down. And now you got to go on the road to BYU at the Marriott Center, where they are desperate, man. They are desperate to try to salvage this season without Richie Saunders. So what do you make of this matchup, and who do you like tomorrow in BYU and Iowa State?
Yeah, I'll be the first to say I kind of hopped off the Iowa State boat a little bit earlier in the season. But early on, and I still am a massive Iowa State fan, like, you don't want to play this Iowa State team. Like, Houston is the same exact way. Like, I was watching that Houston-Iowa State game, and it was like, this is a different level of basketball that's being played right now, especially on the defensive end, right? Like, Iowa State, they'll trap you from places that you never expect to be trapped. And then you'll pass it out, you'll rotate it, and there's another trap. Like, the way they play defense to me is just like you never want to match up against them. I think it's going in, playing against BYU without Richie Saunders, coming off of an emotional game like that, I think is big. I think it's one of those where if they were playing against an Arizona or those type of teams, I think it would be really tough to bounce back from that type of emotional win. But I think Iowa State, I think they handle this game. I think it's one of those where I think they'll just have too much. I don't want to call it firepower, but I think they'll just have too much, physicality, defense involved. But AJ has been absolutely unreal. You look at that Texas Tech game, which in my opinion was probably his worst all year, and also probably the most physical that referees allowed another team to be with him all year. Since then, he's averaging 36-4 across the board. Like, for so long, it was Cam Boozer is head and shoulders above everybody else when it comes to National Player of the Year. And AJ probably still won't win it because I don't think without Saunders, I don't think this team will make it as far as they could have with him. But you have to start truly talking about him in that conversation with the numbers that he's been putting up. And so BYU has a chance if he goes for 40, but I don't think Iowa State's going to allow AJ to go for 40. So that's why I say Iowa State, I think, kind of rolls in this game.
How about you, Mr. McCall, Coach McCall?
He's not full body cramping, AJ. He's not. He doesn't have the sniffles. He's not.
No, he's out. He's grinding.
Okay, he's grinding. Okay, all right. Can whoever has the number one pick in the draft please take him number one overall? Can they please do that?
Hey,
and maybe take Caleb. Take Caleb Wilson second.
I won't rule that out.
Maybe take Caleb Wilson second.
Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. Okay. You have to stop.
Okay. No, I am not stopping.
Y'all don't even believe. Look, this is my thing. I've seen all this. I 100% will not sit here and support how this season has gone with Darren Peterson. I will not, because there's no way that all of this is full on health, right? Like, there are situations where it's a lot of stuff on the outside, but there's 100%. No way you can sit here and say that this guy's not a 10-time All-Star in 12 years. And, there's a possibility for that to happen. Like, this guy's one of the most talented basketball players I've seen with my own eyes. But
totally agree.
I digress.
Totally agree. It's okay. You can digress all you want. I'm taking Devonta and I'm taking Caleb Wilson over him if I'm an NBA franchise. And I may be wrong, and he may end up being a 10-time All-Star, and then he may have full body cramps in his second year before the All-Star game. Who knows? But anyways,
worst case scenario, you'll just be right back here with us, right? You'll just get fired, and you'll just have to come right back on Field of 68. So there's really no risk.
I think this game tomorrow is going to say a lot about BYU in terms of no Richie Saunders. Can they make a run in March? Like, can they do it without him? It's such an unfortunate situation. Same thing with Texas Tech and JT Toppin. Like, you lose these two guys. I've been saying it all season. I thought Texas Tech had the best duo in college basketball. I thought BYU had the best trio in college basketball. But the margin for error for both of those teams is so small that you lose one of them, can they get to a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8? If they're able to beat Iowa State tomorrow, it's got to be the DeBonsa show. There's no question, regardless of double teams, triple teams, whatever, is coming at him. And if they're able to win this game, and I think they can win the game. They're obviously playing at home. It'll show, okay, this team without Saunders can still get to the second weekend.
Yeah. I think that's definitely on the table for sure. I would buy that. I think that's definitely obviously defensively is going to be the question mark, but I do think there's a world where that absolutely happens. All right, Dago, what else we got tonight?
All right, fellas, I'm going to open this up. Big picture tomorrow. Obviously excluding the 3 games we just talked about, because we all know that those are going to top the list for tomorrow. Give me your favorite game, or the game you're most excited to watch for tomorrow, outside of those 3. I'll give some options,
Justin?
if you would like. So you have to scroll through the whole schedule.
I know y'all are going to be on ABC at 1 o'clock watching North Carolina play Syracuse without the big fellas. I know
Sneaky
that's going to be
game.
tuned in.
Sneaky good
and
game.
locked in.
Sneaky
Come
good
on.
game.
Come on. But no, I think mine, I'm going to stay in the ACC. I'm going to go Miami, Virginia. Miami versus Virginia. I think that's going to be a now, John Paul Jones is one of the harder places to play in the ACC. So can Miami go in there and do that? But like this Miami team is just, they're one of the most physically, like, I don't want to say physically gifted, but the way they play is so physical that they just beat up on you for 40 minutes, right? And Virginia, I think, has the size to deal with that, but I think it's just going to be a battle all game. So I'll go Miami, Virginia.
Should be a great one, Matt.
Oof. I got 2. Let me start with Tennessee at Vanderbilt. Give me that one. Who's going to rise to the top in terms of the second best team in the SEC? I think Florida is Florida's to lose, and everybody else. Obviously, Alabama, Arkansas game the other night was ridiculous. Both those teams are in that category, but I think that is, Memorial Magic. It's a rivalry, but the one that I don't think we're talking about enough is UConn at Villanova, because UConn has St. John's coming into their building. I think the game's in Hartford on Wednesday. They can't overlook that one. Villanova still in the category of the top 3 teams in the Big East. That is – UConn's coming off a loss. You want to talk about a dicey game, especially for UConn? I'm going to keep my eye on that one. I'm looking forward to watching that one tomorrow for sure. 5:30 on TNT. That's a big one.
Yeah, it's Tennessee Vandy for me. Missouri, Arkansas is going to be interesting, right? In some ways, but I would say the one I'm most looking forward to is going to be Tennessee and Vandy, because I think Duke Miles is finally making his return. So it'd be good to see Vandy get to a little bit full strength here. It's been a while for them, so I think that's
crazy you picked the game that in the home state that you live in. Like, you just picked the team.
That's a great game. I have a lot of respect, for what Rick Barnes is doing this year. This is a year where he replaced basically all of his good players, and they're still top 20 at KenPom. I got to show, and how can you not love the job that Byington's doing at Vandy and the way they're playing? So it's a great game.
I agree.
Great game.
Yeah, great game.
Memphis is off.
Shout out to the home state.
Memphis is off. They play
Tennessee,
Sunday,
man.
so we'll have to worry about that on Sunday. What else, Dag? Anything else?
Yes, fellas. One with a fun one for Trev, and then we'll all get to bed and get ready for tomorrow's great slate. So Trev wants to know, would you guys rather be in a James Bond series? So would you rather be James Bond, or would you rather be in a Mission Impossible series? What movie would you rather be in?
Am I doing all the stunts like Tom Cruise does in Mission Impossible? Then give me James Bond.
Is he Bond easy? Bond easy.
Is Halle Berry in the movie too? Like, is she in the mix?
Relax, Matt. You're a married man.
No, I understand, but I'm never saying.
But yeah, I mean, Bond gets all the girls, bro. I mean, that's you know,
yeah.
that's
Come
the
on.
key. I mean, Tom
That's an
Cruise
easy one.
never.
I'm not
I
jumping off an
disrespect him.
airplane and like
Yeah.
flipping off like motorcycles and stuff.
I know there was
man.
a woman in the movies, but like Tom Cruise wasn't getting the huzz in Mission Impossible movies. You know what I mean? Like it was not the main goal. He was like saving the world or some shit. You know. So
now they have made 29 Mission Impossibles, which means he's been raking in cash for this long. So with that, if there is no injury possibility, like if we put that on the table, then give me the cash. I mean, because there's a reason they've made that many Mission Impossibles. Like there's
been a lot of Bond movies too, though.
Whoa, John Martin, the next one. Go ahead and make that. Go and make that.
No, I think they're trying to go with like a the chocolate Bond, bro. I think they're trying to finally
diversify. Okay.
Now we go white chocolate. That'll work. Of that variant. But I think did Idris Elba do Bond, or am I making that up? Okay. I think that's
he definitely did not do Bond. No, he did not do that.
Yeah, that's the way this is going, though. There's no doubt about that. They haven't made a new one since 2021. So I think there's going to be. I think they're going to go like the diverse route for sure. Get a brother in there, and I'll get back on the next run through, Justin.
There we go.
I'll be ready.
Yeah.
I'll be in training. All right. Is that good? Is that good for the night, Dagan? All right. Get to bed, everybody. Tomorrow is going to be an absolute awesome day in college basketball marathon. Obviously, you got Arizona, Houston, Michigan, Duke. Lots of great games in between. Thanks for hanging with us here tonight. For Matt McCall, for Justin Jackson, I'm John Martin. Keep it locked, as always, on the Field of 68.